There's no simple way out of it. I mean, the mess we're in now is the result of financial capital chasing returns that were not available under legitimate sources. I am convinced that anytime you have shrinkages like this, entrepreneurs will pop up and say, I've got a better way. And they'll go off and start their own businesses. In a really vibrant economy, they don't get heard.
My name is Naomi Cole. I am working as an independent consultant in the green building and sustainable design industry.
Cole, 26, was a sustainability coordinator with an architecture firm in Portland.
Well, I felt like this was exactly what I was meant to be doing. It was the perfect fit. It was the perfect fusion of all of my interests. And I felt like I had a lot of success.
But soon Cole realized she wasn't just interested in green building. In the middle of one of the worst economic downturns in American history, unemployment numbers on the rise, Cole quit her job. A Portland native, Cole saw a need in this economy, in her community, that was not being met.
Green color, I don't know if that cardstock would translate.
Following her resignation, Cole became an entrepreneur, starting a small sustainability consulting firm.
You sort of wonder what creates a healthy community. And it's entrepreneurship. You got to have entrepreneurs, and you got to have an education system that educates the sons and daughters of those entrepreneurs to go get an education and then come back to that community.
Williams says people like Cole are pioneers, and our system needs others like her to help jumpstart a new economy.
We're going to have a fall way back. We're going to have a lot of unemployment. And the only way to change that is through education.
Dr. Emery Rowe is a systems analyst and co-wrote an op-ed piece in the February 2, 2009 edition of the Financial Times. In the editorial, Dr. Rowe argues that our education system is partially to blame for this mess.
In business schools, we've been teaching risk management methods that have failed. So too in other disciplines, public policy, economics, social sciences, while moving more and more into the business schools. Sustainable development, corporate responsibility are still minor themes.
Berry agrees with Dr. Rowe. When she sought out a joint environmental studies MBA program, she ping-ponged between different universities.
At Oregon, I had all the freedom in the world, but no support. And at Stanford Business School, I had plenty of support, but to go in a very specific direction that I didn't feel like was the right direction for what I needed. So I went around to a bunch of different programs at Stanford and basically told my story to people.
Barry, now in San Francisco, says both schools had a lot to offer, but in different ways. She had to make them work for her. Initially at Stanford for an MBA, she settled on a master's in education, where she was able to work environmental studies into her curriculum. In addition, she returned to the University of Oregon for master's degrees in environmental studies and nonprofit management.
Business schools are predicated that the most important thing for a corporation to do is provide earnings to the shareholders. Historically, that's not the reason for a corporation to be there. The real reason for a corporation was to accumulate capital to support the community and what it's trying to do. And the business schools have lost that completely.
Dr. Stephen Schneider is a professor at Stanford University. He sits on the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the very panel that was jointly awarded the Nobel Peace Prize with former Vice President Al Gore in 2007.
There are people who like to eat cantaloupe and watermelon and other fruits in the middle of the winter. How'd they get them? They certainly didn't grow them locally. It's so much better to have local produce. A, it's good, it creates a community. B, it gives people employment. And C, there's so much less fossil fuel subsidy.
Dr. Snyder's points lay out the triple bottom line. Local business creates local dollars, gives people jobs, and is easier on the environment. Some businesses already understand this. In 1996, Roy Knott and a few business partners started Paneltech in Hoquiam, Washington, one of the many depressed timber towns of the Pacific Northwest.
We're in this community, and I mean, we've just driven a stake in the ground. This is where we are and where we're going to be. That's first and foremost.
Paneltech makes a product that replicates the performance of old-growth woods.
And instead of using virgin fiber, we decided to use 100% post-consumer fiber. Instead of using petroleum-derived resins, we decided to build our own resin plant and make our own resins out of things like cashew nutshell liquid.
Paneltech's revolutionary approach to timber products has given it a market edge. Other mills in the area are shutting down.
To the degree that all these mills are closing, you've got X number of thousand of people who were employed here in mills at good jobs where they made good livings and good middle class incomes. And those folks are all leaving. So what you're left with is a town that has structure but doesn't have any content.
Knott and his partners saw their business as an opportunity to capitalize on already existing infrastructure. Paneltech has proven resilient in this economy, its success steeped in community and business partnerships.
One of the early associations that we made that's been part and parcel of our development has been the relationship that we have with Shorebank. They share our values, they've got the same sense of place.
Shorebank Pacific saw an opportunity with Paneltech that others didn't see.
In our case, what we focused on is that the borrowers we want to promote are those that are building sustainable communities, that are sustainable businesses. And so it becomes incumbent upon us as a bank to A, understand what sustainable means, B, know what a sustainable business looks like, and then C, to lend to them in ways that they then can have build a sustainable business and thereby build a sustainable community.
By fostering growth that is regionally focused, profitable, and tied to the competitive advantages of the local landscape, organizations can take a huge step toward creating a resilient economy. Building this new economy takes time, patience, and compromise. To our neighbors and the rest of the world, we must lead by example.
So we have to, A, back away from some of our over-affluence to show that we can walk the walk and not just talk the talk. And we have to help fund them in the leapfrogging process so that they can develop, improve their economies, but not do it in a way that's got such a heel print on the earth that we end up with non-resilient, non-sustainable environmental systems.
Everything that you learn from the financial crisis is directly applicable to the environmental crisis, and that it's you have to live within your means.
Even if it turns out false, reducing air pollution, reducing acids in the ocean, reducing the dependence on foreign unreliable suppliers of oil, we're getting a multiple bottom line, and it's about time we got on with the job.
This is a smart thing to do, not only because it's good for the environment, but because it's good for our, pockets as well.
The key is to create local living economies. Not everyone will embrace the model, but we know it's profitable, better for the earth, and better for local communities everywhere.
People often think that ecology, nature, and economy, money, are somehow always at fighting loggerheads with each other. And sometimes that's true. Well, should we cut down that tree and earn an income or leave it and help the forest? But very often it turns out that economy and ecology are actually complements.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt's New Deal was designed to help remedy an ailing U.S. economy during the Great Depression. Perhaps the economic innovations with nature and community building in mind constitute a New Deal, a way for us to recover and possibly provide a way to prevent collapse in the future.